What up, what up, what up? Bankroll 10. Bet it, bet it, bet it up. Alright. 72. 72. Drop top Cutlass. Let's see. It's got some what wheels on it? Well, look, they put the old deal simple in there. So I'm gonna be honest, I don't know. What do you do? Y'all let me know. So we got a fat lip on the back. They're 24s. It's got the wing on it. Which I don't know if that represents being an S or something like that from back then. Indiana. Back wheel pretty fat. I'm about to measure that lip for y'all real fast. Let's see what this lip is, right? What y'all think it is? I'll pull this tape out. That's only a 7. Only a 7-inch lip, y'all, but it looks pretty deep, huh? It looks pretty deep. Alright, so the rear end is, let me see, this side a 1/2 inch to the left. So the calipers are hitting the frame. And there's like no brake pedal. No pedal height. So the bigger thing here is, I showed you that Indiana plate. This is one of the cars that came out of streetcar headquarters. And, you know, some BS, whatever. Shit happened in the past, whatever. But Supercharged. I don't know, was that LSA Supercharged? I don't know if it's aftermarket. It was got a GM tag on it. LS. I don't know if it's an LSX. I don't, you know, because I don't mess with this. I don't do motor stuff. 2.54 pulley on there. I don't know. Got this chrome booster and the way the master sets up. And this one has this locks on the top. So I don't know if they fully bled the back. I took the car off the transport and backing it off, I couldn't stop the car, so I had to just straighten the wheel out and make sure I stayed in the street. About shit myself, cause yeah, you know, you figure you could get a quick little pump in and get a little more brake. Nah. So been sitting in here a day or two, and as you can see, we got some antifreeze right there. That oil spot, I'm not sure if that has anything to do with this car. That might have to do with my Ford for changing the oil filter. It might. When I say my Ford, I'm talking about my Explorer. So anyways, the car is here for me to go over some shit. We're gonna check these upper control arms in the back, see if the rear end didn't move over to the driver's side that little bit, and it's causing this caliper to hit, or where the brake lines go into these calipers, because this caliper is D52 style that bolts directly onto the spindle, where there is no cutting or tapping, drilling and tapping the spindle. And then the back is the same. Now, it takes the stock pin. So the back is probably a G body. It's probably a metric. And the way the bracket is, makes the caliper sit up towards the back. But we're gonna look at all that, and I can see they frame notched. So we're gonna go over that shit too. The front sitting right now, the wheels are cambered. You can see that's cambered. Negative camber all day. look down in here at the bump stop. Let's see if I can get you all the way in there. The bump stop is on the frame right now. That's why I get rid of the bump stops. In this case, you could get rid of the big one and put the flat one, like the G-body style one, on there to get you that little bit of room if the car is sitting at the height you want to sit at right now. What's the car? The car sits good, you know. But yeah, I see some wrinkles in the quarter. I know the trunk has got some wrinkles in it. You know, these cars they got that curved trunk, and you be trying to slam the trunk. I don't know if it's got sounds in it. It probably does have sounds in it. I don't have a trunk key. I'm not sure if there's a trunk pop. That's none of my business anyways. But maybe the trunk is jammed up a little bit. You gotta close it hard and, you know, use the palm of your hand. Boom. Be denting. Little dents and shit. But anyways, so I am going to unbolt these bump stops so I can get them out the way. Because it looks like it's gonna need to be aligned. Look at this wheel. This wheel's cambered in, but looks like it's damn near straight front to back. When you look at this one turned out. Well, his alignment it's not aligned. They probably eyeballed that shit. Whoever did the alignment. But this car last year, the other year, was supposed to be sent to me. Street car headquarters told dude to mess with me. And then he had told me before that he had called me before and shit like that, before that, for me to do the work on the car, other word, whatever. So the car had an 8.5 in it. And when he called me to set up narrowing the 8.5, then I didn't end up hearing from dude. And as we can see now, it got a 9-inch in it. So we're gonna look at that too. Most likely what they did was figured out how much shorter they needed to go and just ordered the 9-inch shorter. And then they were able to bolt it in and this and that, whatever. So he would have been fine on the street. Like I said, he ain't racing or shit like that. He'd have been fine on the street with 8.5 in here. When you're spinning tires down the block, stuff like that, if you're not hooking, you don't need a 9-inch. If you're out having fun, spinning around, doing this and that, having fun on the street, if you ain't getting into no serious street racing, you don't need a 9-inch. But anyways, you know how they were trying to become a one-stop shop, get everything done there, so there you go. The Skylark that looks like this, the brown one with the gold wheels, that one had an 8.5 in it. Narrowed that, put 9-inch ends on it, 9-inch axles basically. That car is fine. That was about the time when I did that they called me about this. So anyways, all right, y'all. I'm gonna get it up in there and show y'all everything we can find underneath of it. Let that up. Be right back. All right. So, got the lift legs under it. I had to move the car forward a little bit, so I just took it out of gear and pushed it. I changed the upper bump stops from the tall red ones to the short black ones. The short black ones come in the G-body. They might work. The arm might touch the frame from that back corner before the bump stop hits, but at least it's got something in there. Oh, so whatever this chrome master setup is, the bolts only go on with a Phillips screwdriver. The rubbers were pulled all the way down. We have no pedal height, and we have no fluid in the back reservoir, and the front reservoir is, halfway down? So, depending on how this works, let's see. This is the back side, right? So this goes into this side, which feeds the back. So back is back. So that's why we have no pedal height and no stopping. So I'm gonna have to say that all four wheels are gonna need to be bled. So I got brand new brake fluid. We can tackle that. As you can see, we got a brass copper line here, got green here. They put the proportion valve up here. So yeah, I noticed this line right here is a cooling line for the blower, and putting the lift leg underneath. When I get it lifted up in the air, I'm gonna show you guys these cooler lines, because obviously it has an ice box in the back, but wait until you see that. Good Lord. Again, I'm not purposely trying to point things out, but I mean, these hose clamps that's a ton of hose clamps. I mean, they're probably good hose clamps. They're just not really that clean of an install. I don't know shit about LS heads, but they're 0821. Oh, I think he said his air, whatever, was hot, and that's probably because there's no ice box, or there's no ice in the box. However that goes, like I said, I'm not gonna sit here and try to act like I know everything. There's all these shops out there, boy, they act like they know everything. And these other little rinky-dink shops, cars keep coming back over and over and over and over. Transmissions going out over and over and over. Like, how do you have the same problem over and over and over, but yet you have 2, 3, 4, 5 cars of your own that you're building? Meaning, you know, just whatever shop, blah, blah, blah. There's shops out there that have personal shop cars, but anyways, whatever. My point is, everybody wants to still talk shit. I know, haters, let them hate, this and that, they talking about me, but a lot of these guys I taught, yeah, they might have perfected some shit, but I've been doing this for how many years? And showing all this stuff and designing stuff. Yeah, other people have fabbed it and made it cleaner and all that. But anyways, you know, people out there recording videos at show and go, recording cars and this and that, and then not saying who did this suspension and who did that suspension and who did, no, but they'll sure say this guy and this guy and this guy on this car and that car and that car. Whatever. I mean, shit, I'll put a condom on. Oh my God, I'm a fucking idiot. But anyways, all right, let me get back on this car. I'm gonna take it up in the air and we're gonna see what's going on underneath. Be right back. All right, y'all. I got this thing up in the air. And it's got this bolt-on brake set up. So obviously 9-inch rear end, 9-inch bolt up. So maybe I can get away with. Worst is I'm gonna have to take the ends, cut them off, and clock them down. I mean, obviously we got from here to here somewhere. The main problem is, okay, so they frame notched it, but they frame notched it horribly. And I think they went all the way down here with this. This is, yeah, this is different material. This side, I don't believe it. I don't think there's a mark. I mean, there might be a light mark. It probably could have used a pad spacer because of how far the caliper's out. So that would give you more pedal height too by putting a pad spacer behind here and keeping the caliper, you know. But that's what you get with stuff like this. You know, the pad spacer, this, I'm pretty sure this is a G-body bolt up and metric bolt up. So as we came over here, I see man on the floor. Like I said, the car gets in here a couple days. And I see this here first. So then you look at it, it's clear, you smell it, hydraulic fluid. You would think possibly the shock. You see the shock sleeve before. But then of course you go up here and you can see the brake line. And it goes right there. So not saying that it wasn't tight. This side has smacked the frame. Because they have a bigger section here. This side's not as narrowed or not notched as far. So what I could possibly do is I'll cut a section and put a piece of tube in here, half a tube, and arch it for where this goes up in there so it doesn't smack it. The car sits good, so I think he probably hit this one time on a big dip or something, and it smacked us enough to loosen it, and that's where the brake fluid's going, and that's why the master is low. Again, you can see how much of the side washer is right here. So it could possibly use some pad spacers, but I've seen them with and without, as long as you get them all bled. It's got tie bars, and tie bars help this section of the frame not to twist up and bend, ties to the upper torque brace. Tie bars are a good thing. So you guys out there, if you got frame notch, but you don't have any bracing, you don't want to spend thousands of dollars to get bracing, buy you a set of tie bars. This hole is bigger to make up the difference in play. So I have a set or two, but it has the bigger hole because none of these cars are perfect. So then if you're trying to put a perfect bolt or a bolt in a perfect hole and this and that, and it doesn't line up, and it's adjustable there so that way you can preload it. And if you got one side that's a little up higher, you know, if you put a level on a certain spot or whatever, and this side is the side that normally bends up the most, you could, before this, preload that, tighten it, which would put a little flex to this and tighten everything up. So the other thing I was noticing here is that these spacers, so I was like, why do they got so many spacers? Then I went like this, and these spacers are just, I don't know, that looks tight, so maybe they didn't go far enough. Now I know a couple of you already looked at these hoses in there, and you know what I'm talking about with these hoses. So yeah, that is for the ice box that's in the trunk. And I mean, these ain't full rubber grommets, that's just that like foam tape. That's not no rubber grommet. So then you got sharp ass edges. And I do believe that that wasn't their first spot to put that, because there's 3 holes right there. I'm gonna have to say, I think they thought they were gonna go there first and then ran into the woodwork of the box setup that's in the trunk. Not exactly sure. But yeah, let's follow these lines up here some more. You got all these zip ties right here. I mean, we all know zip ties are professional work. I mean, we got 1, 2, 3, and then they're doubled up. We got a lot of zip ties here. Let's put it underneath the frame rail. Let's put it to where if anybody lifts it up, they gotta put the stand in the right spot or else they'll catch the hose. Again, heater hose. Oh look, body flex. It's got the hose pretty tight in there. And then let's go up here. Oh, we have a hose clamp. And we have a hose clamp that's leaking. Antifreeze. Then we go into braided. Okay, my arm's getting a little tired. And then I showed you the braided underneath the hood. Alright, so then we have this antifreeze mark here. We have this antifreeze mark here. We have orange antifreeze here. We have orange antifreeze there. So we know it's coming from this. So where is it coming from? Oh, look. Right there at the corner of, this is a cooler, right? An air cooler for the supercharger. So is it the plug? Oh my God, you guys witnessed that. I just turned that with my, maybe it's supposed to be a little loose, but then again, if we look here, there's no drop there. It's leaking. Oh, let's check up here. I don't feel nothing up there, but you can see it's orange right there. I'd have to say one of these cores, but we're gonna look. Oh, let's see, we got a core ripped out here, so something got pushed through. But what I'm trying to say is we're not wet. We're not wet up here on the cooler anywhere. So what we have here is, we can see right here, and we can see there's damage there, and that damage actually is in the same spot there. So did something fly up there and hit that? Or was this a secondary spot to put it? Alright, so the cooler is definitely leaking. Now let's go over here, y'all. That says Ford on it, bro. That's funny. But that's even funnier. Look at that kink. How much is flowing through that line? And then this one is into the core support, which it has like a little notch. I wonder if they, oh no, it's just right into the edge of it. And something else all through here, which this is antifreeze. I think it's antifreeze. I don't know if that's antifreeze, because this is real puddly and real wet, but this one over here, yeah, those two different. This is, I bet this power steering fluid. Yeah, that's power steering fluid. Well, you know, I don't know. These control arms right here, I'm gonna tell you something about these control arms. We're not gonna find a name on them, and that's because these control arms are that cheap ass shit. This is A-body. These right here will cost you under $500 on the internet. The cheap stuff, I don't know the exact name of this stuff, but these bushings, if you do not put all this together and have this all anti-seized, they will squeak. And this car squeaked when I took it up in the air. Oh, yeah. So what I'm saying is A-bodies in the door, you need QA1 upper and lower control arms. They correct the geometry that these cars need, because from the factories, I've said it before and I'll say it again, the bottom ball-joint location is too far back. The upper location is too far forward. And the only arms that correct that are QA1. They have the baddest technology for this. Forward control arms, whatever. A lot of people are like, oh my God, it's so much money. $1,500 for the full set on the front, whatever the price is now. You know what I'm saying? It's worth it. These are garbage. All the other ones are garbage. Alignment-wise, all that stuff's tight. It's got QA1, and there's no Zerk fitting in the center link. Notice that over here, no Zerk fitting there, so that was never greased. So whoever did that, I don't know who did that. You guys be the judge of all this stuff. And if I'm being an asshole, just tell me I'm being an asshole. But that's crazy. I ain't never seen these lines ran like that. And especially going from the braided. I've seen everybody run the braided, you know. But to run this, I mean, this is probably bigger and more flow, but I think this is more insulation. I'm not exactly sure, but this is better. It's gonna last longer. But what's really going on here is the clamp loose, or did they over tighten it and crack that plastic adapter that they have in there? I don't know. It's got a nice aftermarket trans cross member in it. And you guys know this trans is what, a 4L80? 4L80, and then it's the newer style because the trans line back here, however that goes. I don't get into that stuff here. But then we have some nice heat wrap around the trans lines and the wires that are back here. I mean, it's still kind of open. Here, let's see if I can get this up in there. Still a little open up there. Right? Get my fingers stuck a little bit, but kind of burger. Let's see if it's looks tight. Yeah. Collar is undone. Coilover it's not locked on that one. This one is up there and it's just not locked. Not that big of a deal. The front's barely ever moved. Is there bearing plates? Yes, there's bearing plates. Alright, yeah, so I showed y'all that, and I'm gonna take the back wheels off, get a better look at how I'm gonna be able to move that caliper down, or if I'm just gonna re-notch the frame some more. Probably get away with re-notching the frame some more. Like how they got that, you know, it's just this little divot that comes out right here. Like that's in, that's out, and it goes back in. Same thing over here. All right, I'll get back to it. All right, so here's their notch, or whoever's notch, and then you can see that basically when the car goes down, he thought the bleeder was hitting the frame. The bleeder didn't hit. This actual line smacked the frame. So the easiest and the less cost to do it is I'll just get the caliper out of my way. Yeah, I'll let it hang. Watch, I'll definitely let it hang. For those ones that want to say, oh man, you know, I'll pull it forward, I'll let it hang to the front. So I'll cut this up higher, and then I'll roll a piece of 1 inch inside there and get this clearance. But if it had, I could probably get away with moving the rear end forward just a little bit. Here, let's look at this tire real fast on this side. We could come forward. This is in the air, so it's forward a little bit. So we could come forward a 1/2 inch. So a 1/2 inch farther forward would move, you know, the caliper farther forward, which they have a positive pinion. Even when the thing was on the ground, it had a positive pinion. So the pinion was sticking up. So then I just unjam the uppers, move the rear end forward a little bit. It would give a little bit of height in the back because you're rotating the rear end like this and the coilover like this. But we can take a little bit of spring pressure out of that because I don't think we have a problem with clearance. Yeah, the coilover sits where the coilover sits and the brake sits there, so that is not in the way. The only thing is in the way of that is adjusting the collar with the wrench. But I have so many wrenches that I have cut and bent differently. But yeah, so by taking the rear end forward a little bit will help clear. You know what I'm saying? So that would make this go forward more. I know bring the pinion angle down to bring this up higher. But you can see this side is nowhere near notched. And it has a mark. So this side hit too. But without having the anti-roll, most likely what it's doing is the axle of the car is laying over on both sides. So then it's moving farther. So if they have an anti-roll on it, which this car, yeah, you can do an undermount anti-roll, and the exhaust is in enough, which is good. So undermount anti-roll will go right there and weld right here. So that's something I'll tell them about. So yeah, I'll just notch this up some more, and then I'll take care of that. I'll tell them about the alignment, tell them about everything else. Fender's cut. Didn't notice that before. These cars do have a small wheel opening. I'm gonna take a wrench and try to tighten up. Let's see how loose that back bleeder is. Let's see, it should be 11 mil, 7/16. Let's see. Look at that. Oh, look, just so the line got hit and look, loosened it. So pushed it. Oh no, that would be tightening. So it was never tight. No, you're right. I'm right. It hit it and loosened it. So that could have been just the majority of it. So I'll push that down and tighten that up. But like I said, I'll take the caliper out of the way, do my cut here, so I can get in there and work. I mean, the bracket will still be in my way, but the caliper will be out of my way. Who knows? Take the caliper out, take the rotor off, undo the brake. Can't move it up here. Yeah, I already did that. I'll just do the notch up there. All right, y'all. I'll get this other wheel off and get this caliper off and get back on it. Be right back. All right, y'all. I wasn't bullshitting. How many people are gonna cry about that? This lightweight ass caliper hanging on this strong ass hose. With its zip tie. I mean, come on, it's got a zip tie, y'all. Got a zip tie. That's real strong. Oh, that's even zip tied on. Oh man. Yeah, got this off. Basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slit it. I'm gonna cut more of the bottom off. I'm gonna roll it in. I'm gonna weld it back up, clean it back up. Maybe do an extra little notch right here. I mean, it was just barely catching. You can see how, you know, it's just barely catching it. So they just didn't go far enough. I had to take the bracket off. These bolts don't come out. I hit my axle. But anyways, took all that off. Bam. This notch is notched in farther than this side. Yeah, this side's not really that far in. I mean, they might match up a little bit, but see how they put this plate on the bottom? I don't know. I don't know why they just didn't go that little bit more, because the frame gets fatter up here. Way fatter. And it's not that thin down here. So both sides were just hitting just a little bit. This side would have probably loosened that up. But see, look, this side's a total different hose. And this side doesn't have that extra metal like that side. So two different hoses. Who knows what they're doing. But yeah. Alright, so I just noticed that the other chrome wasn't on the car, and I remember him telling me something about the chrome catching right here. So then I looked in the car and there was the chrome, right? Well, that is more than it was just catching, because there's cut marks, like somebody was using tin snips trying to cut it out of the way. I'll just focuses, but you can see the tin snip, the teeth marks. But this chrome is basically junk. I'm gonna try to straighten it out right there a little bit and put it back on. But I think obviously we all know when it catches, which is to see the car. So it probably caught once or twice, and it pulled the car back some, and then it just kept pulling at the chrome. And they probably kept bending it back in. All you have to do is take the chrome off, straighten it out some, tap this part of the car back a little bit, and I'll probably clean this up with the soft wheel. And I'll try to clean this up and put it back on. I mean, basically this chrome is junk. Look at all the holes, the extra holes in it, all that. But I'll see if I can get it to go on there for them. But yeah, that's what we're at now. Back on it. Alright, I'm back on it. So, I went ahead and did more of what they were supposed to do. There's still not a frame back here. I mean, that's pretty, so that's still pretty thick right there. This is where it arches up. They plated here. So, I mean, I don't know why they went, I mean, they made it structured, I guess, because they went down here more. But you can see how many different layers are in there. So I cut out this section, I slid it, I'm gonna roll it in. I got that held because that's where I want it to be. So now I got a nice 45 gap right there that I can fill. I'm gonna cut this up some more so I can do the same thing there. I'm gonna get this corner to go in, but I gotta get a tack or two in here to get that. So this is what I cut out of there. So this side is now in more than the driver's side, and this is the one I was given the major problem. But the line came into play. These bolt-on coilovers, which doesn't allow you to adjust this, and this doesn't. This bracket they should offer with another set of holes, so that way you can clock it down. So like, let's say in here, give it 2 sets of holes around here. You know what I'm saying? So that way you could clock it down. But yeah, bolt-on coilovers do this shit. So now if you had the bracket set up that moves this in some, because 8-bodies like to break these because they're on such a crazy ass angle. But the other brackets that bolt into this spot and then move it over, and then you have like 2 or 3 adjustments over here. So QA1 bottom brackets that are adjustable for bolting. Then you'd be able to just clock this. But this rear end was ordered narrowed from Great Performance. So they didn't know, whoever ordered it could have just had it clocked, but then yeah, they would have had to use the different brackets here. But that's why I do all the multi-hole, adjustable torque boxes, super drops, move all this shit inward, put a cross bracing in it. It's better than this bolt-on stuff. Now, if this wasn't narrowed, this bracket would work because the caliper would be out here more and would have never hit the frame. A-bodies have this goofy ass angle to their frame sections back here. It's angled up on the outside, but the inside goes flat up. So there's a lot of material there, and you know, I'll be able to fill all that in, fill that in, fill that in, and it's gonna clear that. So same thing on this side, except you see how this arch, it's not back. This side's not as far in as that side. So I'll make that side, tag it together, and I'm gonna cut this side some more, and I still haven't cut this off. So I cut the section out right here on the floor. So I cut about the same out, but I cut about the same out from where they had it. So this one, I'll cut this weld off the bottom so that way we can see the inside frame. And then I'll trim this back some more, round it up some more, and be able to clamp it like I got the other side clamped, and tack, then go through and fully weld it up. And then be able to bolt all this back together. I put the tape on there to protect from grinding slag, weld slag, going and getting on the seal, the shock stroke. You know, you get a piece of the weld slag, or you know, the weld pop, and it goes and hits the shaft, the stroke, you know, the shaft, and then it goes in and out of the shock a couple times, and it rips the seal out, and then it's leaking, and then all the juice is gone, blah blah blah. So I taped it, and for painting, so that way I can just put a little paint over this section. I don't cake it on the spray. But yeah, so that's the next step with this. And it makes a mess. And I broke a disc, and shot in my face. But whatever. Messy shit. And I'm sweating my ass off because it's hot. And I'm a fat ass. Like I was saying before, a little white camera that's wrapped around that tree where that box is. It's got a little fucking siren on it. So now today they've hit it like 4 or 5 times. It's like woo, 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 woo. And then the kid comes over on the freaking ATV. And then stops. I'm sitting in a chair doing things on my phone. He stops over there, gets off, taking pictures of me and shit. I mean, just dumb. Just dumb. Weird. Then the dude drives in his truck and just stares at me, so I just smiled and waved at his happy ass. But alright, y'all. I'm gonna get back on it. About to add up. Alright, y'all. I'm back. Not perfect. It's not perfect. I had to work with what I had to work with. I slid it. Took a bigger section out. This rolled up. I mean, it's probably good though. I still got their little line on the outside, but paint or some undercoating to hide that. But I made this side. I made the driver's side as far as this side. This one came out better with fixing the dents and the rolls they had in this. But I'm still gonna put some paint on that. But I'll show you. This side I already painted. So it's still a little wet. Oh, real wet. So, yeah, it looks like shit with the shininess. But how it curves up right there, trying to make it match the other side. I went in more just so it looks kind of like the other side. But yeah, that's super shiny. It's satin black. Satin black. A lot of people ask me what I use. Alright, so satin black. Matte black, satin black, Krylon. So that will lighten up when it's dry. So that looks like it's gloss, but it's not gloss, it's satin. So once it is fully dry, it will look better. Right now it's just kitchen. They undercoated. And the time I was gonna have to take to clean up the whole frame rail and this and that, for what I'm charging to fix it, if I would have been the one to do it originally, told you the story. But this is crazy. And like I said, it leaks. And this power steering leaks. So, you're not gonna see that anyways, and there's still a lot of the frame left. You guys don't see that. There's a ton of frame up in there. So, like I said, this side, yeah, they plated underneath. So there was a lot of layers of old frame, some new metal. When I was cutting it, it was crazy. You can see that piece. It's got the little bump. I mean, this one goes up a little higher than that side. But again, I'm not hiding nothing. I'm not trying to hide nothing. Could it look better? Yeah, of course it could. Could this be cut more of an angle and then laid a diamond triangle in there so it sits back more so it doesn't look so stepped? But yeah, I'm gonna put some paint on this side, pull that tape off, and get these calipers and rotors bolted back up. And then I'll be able to fill the master and bleed the back brakes, and then I'll be able to set it down and start doing the alignment. But while it's up in there, I'll unjam the center, the tie rod adjustment sleeves. I'll loosen these up right now, be able to set it down and square it up. See the inside edges of the tires, you can feel. On the last one you guys seen me show at the beginning of the video where this wheel was straight and that wheel was turned. So we'll see how far that's off. This car is towed out. So I'm gonna have to go with this car is probably an inch and a half, inch and a quarter to an inch and a half towed out. So we'll see how that goes. Got that up on the back. All right, y'all. I put the back wheels on it. I put them in the yard and I washed some Vision glass cleaner, or Windex glass cleaner, or whatever. That's what I use on them. They were real dirty, real dirty. I just figured no sense in not cleaning them and to clean the bags. But as for the frame, I went ahead and I put, it looks like shit now, but I put undercoating over it. So, you know, it's not perfect. It wasn't perfect. It was a mess to begin with. Undercoating, a little bit of drive-in, some dirt, get up in there, whatever. This side, I'm gonna pull the wheel back off because I did say I was gonna put the chrome back on. This wheel, I didn't clean the back of the other wheel, but this wheel, you can see, is like faded. There was no setting. I don't know if I told you guys that. There was absolutely no setting on the shocks. It was at 0. So that didn't ask in the car. Let's see, what did I put it at? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, yeah. Back brakes are bled. Got that done, all tightened up. I'm gonna wipe the floor so that when I come in, come back to the back, you know, make sure that they're not leaking anywhere. But we checked everything. Front wheels, I don't have to take off. I just gotta, like I said, just gotta crack those loose in and out of tie rods. And set it down on the alignment plates. And align it. So yeah, next little step. Cut that up. Alright, y'all. See what's on them alignment plates. Got the alignment done. Camber caster was okay. I think I moved one shim. But toe in and toe out. I was saying that it was most likely towed out, and I was saying about 1.5 inches. Well, I was half right. It was towed out 3/4 of an inch. So now, with this tire being on there and this rim, and again, I don't know what these rims are because that center cap has got the Oldsmobile emblem on it. I have no idea what the wheel is. A 3-piece wheel, probably Rucci, I don't know. But with these wheels on it, this tire on it, measuring from inside line to inside line of the tires, 60 and a half is what I got, front and back wheels. So you go along the front, you go along the back, but you have to be setting on some alignment plates, something that allows the wheels to move and not bite the ground. That's the whole purpose of the alignment plates. I don't need no tabs on them and markers on them or nothing like that. I just need the car to be able to sit down and the wheels settle. So that's taken care of. I tightened up some lines on the power steering pump. He had mentioned something about that. So one line was loose, the rest were pretty tight, so maybe it was that one. I already had the car running, sitting here. I was feeling the brake pedal. The brake pedal feels 100% better than what it was because of bleeding the back brakes. The clearance for the caliper to the frame back there, I put my hand back there, I went on the trunk, pushed it up and down, and boom. The car does not have an anti-roll, but the shocks were at 0 on the compression, and I put them up to 4. The fronts were on 13. Excuse me, I think the passenger one was on 13. The driver's one, these are only single adjustable, so 1 knob per shock. Driver's side was 10, and the right side was 13. I knocked that down to 6 on both of them. I still gotta check tire pressure all the way around. The driver's one looks like it's low. Let me check that. These tie rod sleeves on here, I'm gonna steer you guys away from these. These are the QA1 aluminum or zinc coated steel. I don't know what they are, but this is like the 5th, 6th set, maybe even more than that over the years, that they didn't want to turn. They did not want to turn. I mean, the jam nuts will jam, unjam, boom. But trying to turn the whole sleeve, I had my long crescent wrench on underneath here, and I would use my leg and my foot and grab it onto the bumper and pushing. to, well, I had to push that side. This side I had to pull. But I was able to get, see what I'm saying about this tire looks low too. That tire's definitely low, I think. So, well, I see fresh power steering fluid dripping. So now I gotta find that and see where the hell that's coming from. So now I can check all the lines. Again, I see it around the top of the pump or the reservoir. See, it's wet right there. Anyways, I'll look at some more of that stuff. I might have a wrong fitting somewhere. This line right here has got a fitting, an AN fitting on it. I wonder if the fitting itself is loose, because it's not above it, it's under it. And that's where the main trick was before. Okay, this wannabe cooling line setup right here, from the braided to the regular heater hose, both of those clamps were loose. I tightened it up. That's where it was leaking from. And with the car running, I don't see any fresh antifreeze. Alright, so the car has pink antifreeze in the motor. So the supercharger with these lines is that is the ice system, or this, however it is in the trunk. Like I said, I don't have a trunk key, so I don't know what that system is. But the ice box, whatever is back there, so how this flows, if it's antifreeze in here, that flows through there and cools. What, I don't know where the pump is for that. Does it pump through the supercharger, or, you know, I don't know. I'm not gonna lie and say I know this and know that, and I don't. Chrome. I took this wheel back off and I fitted the chrome on there. It was all tore up in the front, so I trimmed it and ground it. So it probably took one time of going in on an incline, like a driveway, turning in, or a gas station incline, and it probably, because there's no anti-roll, probably caught the chrome once, pulled it out, and it just kept digging in and ripping it. But it was really bent to shit, but it doesn't look bad on there now. Gas in the car is set. It's a good set, you know what I'm saying? The stance. So, adjusted the rear end forward that little bit, just a little bit. You know what? Let's look at the pinion angle right now. Let's see the pinion angle. Oh, it's up the ground. Oh, it's still got a little bit of a positive pinion. And I wish I could get in there to see. Yeah, a little bit of positive pinion. Good for spinning tires on the street. Alright, y'all. I can't think of anything else. I've tried to put grease in the upper ball joints, the boots, the ball joint. It was actually coming out, not the zerg, but like on top of the, I think the ball joints, they were never greased. So the grease is coming out between the plate. It's not coming out the boot. So I don't think it was able to get in the boot. So I got to put another grease tube on the grease gun, and I got a needle around here that goes on my grease gun somewhere. I got to find that, and I can just poke the boot and put some grease in there. But that happens from not being greased. The car gets driven. So everybody that puts front control arms in and this and that, and they don't have a grease gun, you can go to the parts store and get one of those little hand pump ones, and boom, fill it up. A regular hand pump one. You don't have to have no big badass electric grease gun. Just gotta have a basic grease gun. You gotta grease this shit, y'all. Y'all be doing, how they say y'all be doing too much? No, y'all ain't be doing enough. Motherfucking shit. I'm in here sweating my motherfucking ass off for a couple dollars. Shit. Anyways. All right, well, I'm gonna check out and see if I can't find where this leak is coming from for the power steering. And then be able to pull it down the driveway and back and see how the brakes act. The backs, we bled. I let them gravity bleed first. All the bubbles came out. Then we pumped them like 10 times, 3 times a piece, boom, boom. The car has a pedal now. The pedal's all the way up. It goes down about halfway, but it's firm with the car running. If it's a little, whatever, I cracked the bleeders on the front and I watched to see if any bubbles came out. No bubbles came out. So, all right, I'm gonna check this power steering. See if I can't figure out. I think I know what it is, so. Oh, yeah. 72 Cutlass, y'all. 72 Cutlass. Supercharged, intercooled, LS. Be right back. All right, y'all. I cannot figure out where the leak is coming from, except for that AN fitting on the back of the pump. I was looking at it downwards, now I'm looking at it from the bottom. You can see the drip down here, and you can see the bottom. I wiped it I moved it a couple times, but I think that I tried to tighten that fitting to the pump. It moved a little bit, but I did that before. But I think where the hose goes into that, or the hose turns into that 90 AN fitting, I think that's what the problem is. So as I'm looking underneath here, right? Look at the motor mount. I see that yellow tag right there, right? So I start moving it around. That's a trunk key or a door key. Like, how does this even happen? I'm gonna pull that out. Let's see if I can get my finger in here. Man, that's stuck on something. I just put the light on with my arm. It's hot as shit. Let's see, let's put this over here. All right, let me see if I can get this motherfucker out of here. I don't know how, but you can see there's a trunk key, or a round key, whatever. Haha. Let's see what it says. It says 72 Cutlass. 72 Cutlass right on it. That's hilarious, man. Like, how do you... Oh, he must have got underneath the hood and was trying to see about the power. Couldn't figure out where that was leaking either and dropped it. But I'm about to give him a call and let him know. Oh. Man, I'm telling you. All right, Joe. I don't know. Somebody needs to go over this whole car, because look, like I said, that shouldn't be like this. There should be AN fittings here. It should be able to have a 90, so that way it turns and flows. That's kinking and kinking, so that ain't keeping the flow. And then what I was saying about the antifreeze is, I thought it was like an orange, but it's a pink, orange. The radiator, when I opened the radiator cap, it was pink as fuck. That is like, I don't know, maybe it's because it's mixed with my skin. That's got like a pink. That's an orange. Whatever, I don't know. I'm gonna see if this, well, I didn't see that, no leak there before, so that's for me opening the radiator, but this was leaking, so that's gotta be that. There's gotta be a little hole. Yeah, you see, there's gotta be a hole somewhere. So he needs that done. He needs all these lines changed to the braided and AN fittings, and it needs power steering line checked. I don't do all that stuff. But all right, I'll be back with some more on this. All right, y'all. Backed it out. Went up and down the driveway. Doesn't have enough brakes and pedals. It's got height and it goes down about halfway, but it's just like not stopping the car. So I have a brand new thing of brake fluid over on the back table over there. But the power steering is, I'm pretty sure, empty, and it's still leaking. You can see the spot on the floor right there. Fresh puddle. So the power steering, the steering is tight as hell, trying to turn. Then it goes easy, then it goes hard again. So that's gonna be fucked up for trying to test drive it down the street. So I'm not sure if I have power steering fluid around here, but it's gonna need some power steering fluid put in it. Can't figure out how that leak is. I think that union A infinity, I think it's messed up. That's where it's leaking from. So I can bleed the brakes again. But it's late right now out here. I'm just gonna fuck with it tomorrow. So yeah. It's got a nice tuck to it. It felt good. I mean, I backed off all the way up the driveway, then came down. I juiced it a little bit. Not like the privacy fence. I juiced it a little bit through there. But getting on the brakes, I mean, there's way more brakes than what it had before. But anyways, I bet you the front's got air in it. He said originally the brakes were shitty, and then it just kept getting worse. Well, obviously that wheel, that line, will hit the frame, and then it just started leaking out brake fluid. So then that's what drained the reservoir. So the front reservoir was low, but there's no leak in the front anywhere. So for the front reservoir, and it's separate, front back reservoir on that master. So hopefully it's just air in the front, which, like I said, what I did with the front before was I cracked open the bleeders to see if any air would start bubbling. So I assumed the front was good, and we just didn't have pedal height. But anyways, bleed the fronts and put some power steering fluid in it, and go for a legit ride up and down the street and see how she does. And that's where we're at. So let me get back to that. All right, y'all. I brought it out front to do this video, the final video, but the wind is blowing like crazy, so probably gonna hear all the wind noise. Still haven't got me a mic. Been dealing with too much BS, especially with this thing behind me. Anyways, 72 Cutlass. Doctored up the frame notch in the back, made it so it clears. Fixed the power steering hose, bled the brakes, went over a whole bunch of stuff on it. It's all in the video, boom. But yeah, set the shocks. They're only single adjustable QA1, but they had no setting in the back. They were at 0. Put them up to 4 or 5, forget. And the fronts set it. Good looking car. Notice I'm not breathing that hard because I'm doing the walk around video first. Then I'll do all my pictures to where I'll bend up, down, up, down, up, down, take pictures, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, there it is, y'all. Got it up. Fun, fun, fun. Moved out here to get away from the bullshit and ended up with tons more bullshit from just one person. A crybaby ass neighbor. Just had code enforcement here today, and I gotta get compliance with this and that, and blah, 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 compliant, whatever. Anyways, all right, y'all. Bet it up, bet it up. And as he says, the neighbor, bet it up, bitches. Fucking guy. Bet it up. Bankroll 10. I'm out. 72 Cutlass, 24s, fat lips. You see it.